Tell your story.
Change the conversation.
Organized by students.
TEDxYouth at SHC.
Who have you been influenced by? Think about it. I was 11 when a 14-year-old whooped my butt almost every day at school. I would show up to class ready to fight a much bigger and stronger kid during recess and lunch. 6th grade was not fun. This lasted until my 9-year-old sister Para told my dad what was happening. And as painful as it was physically, it was humiliating that my younger sister had to save me. Long story short, my dad put an end to the bullying. Later on, it occurred to me that he did that because my sister had influenced him to. My little sister's influence led me and my dad that day, despite her age. Because of her actions, I learned that my view of what it took to be a leader was way off. The stereotypical view of a leader is the one who is out in front, ahead of the rest of the pack, someone who can point others in the right direction. My name is Stefan Gatrell. I am the founder and president of a youth mentorship program, a youth pastor, and a former professional baseball player. Basically, I'm your stereotypical leader. This is probably why I am giving this TEDx talk right now. A leader is the one who is out in front, but that doesn't mean that a leader doesn't follow. And at times, a follower must lead. It's been said, history is a story of leadership. It's about the choices people made and who they affected. I was recently told that the biggest attribute of a leader is making decisions without having all the information. That's probably why most people don't want to be leaders. But when we look at history, we don't just see the power of leadership, but also the power of influence, for good and for bad. In its most basic form, leadership is all about influence. So why are so many afraid to lead, but at the same time aspire to become influencers? Everyone has chances to lead. Leaders just seem to be the ones who take advantage of those chances. Maybe you feel like being a leader means being perfect. It doesn't. Maybe you are worried that you will make mistakes. You will. Just by pointing someone in the right direction means that you have led them. And at that moment, you're responsible for that person's path. And that might be scary. Do me a favor. After this, Google leadership styles. You'll be blown away by how many different entries there are. The reason there are so many is that there isn't a cookie cutter way in which a person leads. So maybe we should try to stop putting leadership in a box. Everyone influences someone. Therefore, in a sense, everyone is a leader. I know that that is a bold statement, but so was Martin Luther King Jr.'s when he said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. Maybe these statements are bold because of their simplicity. So let me make this simple statement again. Everyone influences someone. Therefore, in a sense, everyone is a leader. The question is, how can you maximize your influence and use that influence for good? My sister, Para, is a type of leader who has strong feelings about how people should be treated. Her ability to care that much about my well-being compelled her to act, to use her influence to move to the front and take advantage of her chance to lead. I was asking myself a question the other day. What is the difference between a leader and an influencer? The answer I came up with was one word: intentionality. An influencer becomes a leader when they are intentional about their actions. I played a lot of baseball growing up. When I was in 7th grade, an umpire named Dan Pino came up to me and my parents after the game. Out of the blue, he asked me where I was planning on going to high school. I told him probably some local public school. He told my parents and me that no college scouts would ever see me if I went to that school. He then listed 3 private schools I should attend because back then those were the only high schools that were scouted at the time. Dan thought about what needed to happen and was very intentional about making it happen. He was out in front and he pointed me in the right direction. It completely changed my life. Dan was right. I attended a great high school. From there, I got a scholarship to an awesome college. And after my senior year, was drafted by a Major League Baseball team. I have no idea where I would be today without his leadership and influence. But I know I wouldn't have been given the platform I have right now. Everybody can be an influential leader. Is Dan famous on YouTube for being a leader? No, he's not. But he's changed my life. And I'm sure he changed the lives of others as well. He was out in front and influenced people in ways that I know makes him feel good today. The journey from playing professional baseball to starting a youth nonprofit which serves mostly disenfranchised students has given me insight into what happens when they become hopeless and are unable to figure out a path to escape overwhelming situations. And through my program, I do my best to point these students in the right direction, just like Dan did for me years ago. This brings me to my last story. Mike's father tragically passed when he was 11. I can't imagine the pain of losing one's dad, especially at that young of an age. Mike had trouble at school and began to face bullying from his classmates. He became severely depressed. Perhaps because he had no other way of coping with a life of such intense and pervasive pain, Mike tried to hurt himself. I was introduced to Mike when he was referred to my program by his school counselor. Through great conversations, I learned Mike loved movies. He wanted to be a writer and a director. Enter Stephan. Stephan, who works in the film industry and agreed to try to help mentor Mike. Stephan really enjoyed this creative challenge and helped Mike take his passion of movies and dream of becoming a director and turn it into a plan. Stephan used his knowledge and experience and influence to point Mike in the right direction. How to learn about film and what books to read, and even how to take the pain Mike sometimes feels and turn it into fuel to write his screenplay. Stephan is out in front, thinking ahead to where things are going to be, and he helped and continues to help Mike get in the right direction. Today, Mike is on a much better and positive and healthier path. Everyone influences someone. Sociologists tell us that even the most introverted individual will influence 10,000 other people during his or her lifetime. We all influence one another in all sorts of ways, from what to eat to what movies to watch to more important matters of truth and ethics. We influence people all the time. That means people are noticing you and see you whether you want them to or not. Instead of trying to choose between being an influencer or a leader, let's decide to influence people by how we lead. Because being an influential leader is not about having a big platform where you give your opinions. It's not about having a lot of social media followers. Being an influential leader is about doing your best to make the right choices today that can put you and the people around you in a better place tomorrow. Para, Dan, and Stephan had no idea the impact their actions would make on my life or the lives of others, but they did them anyway. Actions matter. You matter. It's your responsibility. You have to choose the type of influential leader you want to be. An influential leader is a heavy designation, but that's how it is. So, what do you get out of being the right kind of influential leader? What do you get when you set out on the right path ahead of those around you and influence others to follow? There is a calm in knowing you are headed in the right direction and you are leading others to do the same. And that type of influential leadership is encouraging. And you're helping people. And they know it. And you know it. And that feels good. Thank you.